Welcome to the Art of Braids. I'm your host, Karyne Tinord, and you know we are back with another great episode and with a great guest. Today's episode is Building Beauty and Community with our amazing guest, Genesis Dominguez, and of Honey Beauty. So thank you so much for joining us and getting ready to share your expertise, your experience, and so much more with our listeners. Can you give us a quick fill of your title, where you are, and a little bit about your company?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it just being able to share my story with your community. So as you said, my name is Genesis Dominguez. I am CEO and founder of Honey Beauty, a hair care brand that specializes in hair treatments for textured hair. I was born and raised here in New York. The business was founded in my hometown in the Bronx. So yeah, that's a little bit of our founding story and a little bit about what borough we represent.
Nice. Okay, the Bronx. The
Yes.
Bronx. I'm from Brooklyn, so we don't really travel that far out there, but when we do, we definitely do it for beauty.
Yes, we do. Because it's so funny because I have another like beauty entrepreneur colleague that she's in Brooklyn and we're like this. And I'm like, only if the commute wasn't that far.
And it is for.
Yes.
But we'll make it or meet in the middle or something.
Yeah, something's got to work.
All right, so thank you so much for sharing that. We're gonna go deep dive a little bit more into your beauty brand and just kind of like how you took this on the road. So if our first is about your founding story, right? And the inspiration behind starting it. What inspired you to start Honey Beauty, and how did your personal experiences shape the brand's mission and products?
Yeah, so I think that when I talk about Honey Beauty, I kind of always incorporate my story because that's how it started. I am raised by a single mother. She had me at a very young age. She came from the Dominican Republic, saw herself here like at 18, 19, pregnant, trying to figure out like how do I provide for my child? She always had a passion for beauty. So she went into cosmetology school. And ever since I could remember, my mom has been a stylist. I grew up in the salon community. For me, being Dominican and being in a salon community had its up and down just because overall, when it comes to the Dominican community, they idolize European beauty standards. And I don't look European at all. So it was very interesting being in that environment and having coarse, kinky hair, natural, beautiful hair, and then always being told, like, oh, you have to get a perm or you have to straighten it because that's what we thought beauty was. So I was very much raised in that space. And when I went to college, which was predominantly a white school, and then I went into corporate America, which is also the same, I kind of saw myself like, oh, I don't really kind of like connect with this identity as much as I did before. So I kind of started to find myself a bit more and my identity. And what helped with that was during college, I went to study abroad in the Dominican Republic and I got to learn a little bit more about my history, my people. And I'm like, wait, but most of us look like me and have hair like me. Why do we alternate our beauty just so we could look like somebody else that's not really who we are? And I learned about the history about how women would have their natural hair or wear certain styles because it would be like woman empowerment. It would show signs of like we're here, like we don't care, like this is how we identify ourselves, whether you like it or not. And in the Dominican, like our history, it was very much of like machismo, women doing what men say. So when I kind of learned about that, that was my way of like, okay, this is my stamp. Like this is how I want to be known, and this is how I want people to identify me. So I quickly stopped perming my hair. It was a hard transition though. Like I went from like perming my hair to having extensions, and just kind of being uncomfortable with my natural hair, but then I started to see the beauty in it once I started to learn a little bit more. How do I do my hair? And it was hard, to be honest, because it was very confusing for me because as a Black Latina, I would see other influencers and the Latinas with curly hair didn't have hair like me. So I'm just like, okay, they speak the same language. They don't really look like me. And when they do their hair and I try to do that, it doesn't do that. So I started to connect with a lot of like Black influencers because my hair had more similarities. So once I started to learn how to do my hair, I would literally have then people from my own community, like other Dominicans, to say like, "Oh my God, like how do you get your hair like that?" And I quickly kind of like became a natural hair influencer. And through that, I was working with a lot of other natural hair care brands. And I was just like, wait, like for me it was great doing the content, but like just advertising like somebody else's brand for me was like, wait, I could do this for myself. And that was during COVID, so I had a lot of time in my hands. So when I saw myself with that time and going to seminars like Shopify and learning about online websites, I then kind of had this idea of like, wait, should I have my own beauty brand? I always wanted to have my own salon, but a brick and mortar is very expensive. And that dream for me wasn't as achievable as having my own hair care brand and kind of starting right away, right? So during 2020 and the Black Lives Matter movement, I wanted to like, what do I want to be known for? Like, my story or whatever that might be. And that's when Honey Beauty started. And I got the idea of creating hair care products for my community and educating us in like natural hair care and like, our nat being comfortable in our natural skin and how beautiful that is.
I love that. Like, thank you. Like, you broke it down, and I don't think I needed to even interject or anything like that. But when I tell you the amount of people that are so like disconnected from their natural hair patterns,
Yeah.
especially like Hispanic backgrounds, it's really crazy.
Yeah.
So I commend you for, taking a stand and being like, you know what, like my hair isn't here, or it doesn't have its platform. Like you're giving your texture, your hair type. I don't even go by the whole like letter grade or anything like
Yeah.
that. I feel like it does what it wants to do. Like the
Right.
curls come out and it's different because we're mixed with so many different um I would say origin,
Yeah.
that your texture is going to fluctuate depending on it, so but I get it. I
Yeah. I feel like hair is so personal, right? So like for me, transitioning into natural hair was definitely like it was work that had to be done because it's like literally like breaking generational trauma, right? Like I transitioned, I'm getting called like, oh, you look like a mess, like your mom is a hairstylist, like why don't you perm your hair, right? And like these are comments that I'm getting from my own community, from my own mom, like, oh, come on, let me perm your hair or whatever. And I thankfully like kind of like, stood firm on what I believed on and kept on with this is how I want to be perceived, and you have to respect that, right? So I felt like that within itself was something that I had to learn, but I also understand like my grandmother and my mom are even more darker complected than I am, but I understand that for them, like they grew up in like this colorism kind of community, and for them to kind of shake that off is way harder because my mom still perms her hair. My grandmother don't even know how to do her hair. And it's just like it's way deeper than just hair. So for it's hard, like, like, and I get it when people this thankfully my generation and the younger generation kind of like see the value in that. But unfortunately, like for a lot of the older people, it's definitely a little bit harder. But as long as you stand on business and educate them and let them know, like I feel like we're making strides towards like the right thing.
right, yeah, like, and it is they internalize it. Like I feel like it. they be like shrug, like people will shrug things off, but what they're doing is internalizing it and they pass that down to the next person and they
Mm.
project and then like, oh, like they didn't accept me, so I don't want you to go through that. Like let's relax your hair, let's do this and this and that. And now they're like, but when you take that stand, okay, so I had a time with my mom. I tried to go through like getting my hair, like I think it was like a Jerry curl or something like that because I wanted that Tony Braxton. I believe it was Tony Braxton. That wave or
Mm-hmm.
Rihanna or Tony Braxton. I forget which one. Holly Berry. I don't know, but it was the shortcut, the wave,
Yeah.
and it came out bad. Like I think I had a relaxer in right before that, and I
Yeah.
don't think the person who was doing my hair, she was also Dominican, but
Yeah.
she put the products or whatever. She did the S wave
Mm-hmm.
whatever product. And when I tell you it was straight pieces like everywhere, so I just walked straight to a barbershop. I was
Chop
like,
it
take
off.
it all off. Top it all off. And like I was like, I felt so relieved. But when I got home, my mom was like, "Where's your earrings?" Like it was like because she's so stuck on I need to see hair. Like people gonna think
Yeah.
I'm a boy. I'm like, I'm not built like a boy. So no one
Right.
think I'm a boy. Like,
Mhm.
and I was able to like wherever I had to be confident because now it was just my face because I had no hair to hide behind.
Mhm.
And so that kind of pushed me into that. But it was with her, with my mother, where I had to be like, I'm fine. I have
Yeah.
earrings. I don't need hair. That is not who I am.
Yeah.
And so now she's getting it. Now she's kind of like embracing her hair, her color. Not
Mhm.
so it's like you get attacked for being that change
Mhm.
stand up that you be like, oh, you want people to be like, get it all right away, but you be like, nah, show and tell, or you gotta live, you gotta walk it like you talking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I totally get that generation, but that's what they lived with. So it's like you have sympathy for them, but you're like, this is a new age.
Yeah, for sure. It's so funny because my mom was the same way in the beginning. Was like, oh, like what's good with your hair, whatever. And then now it's just like, oh, you look cute with your hair like that. Or I like it when you do it like she understands like the different styles and stuff like that. And now my little sister is also natural. So just seeing that change, even my own family, like makes me proud.
Yeah, and I love that you have the elixir. We're gonna go into, but I love that you have those drops because there was another time where I was at a client's house and she was, I believe, maybe Cuban and Puerto Rican, something like that. Um, but I think her mom was like darker than me.
Hmm.
And while I was like, greasing her scalp and things like that, the mom was like, "What is that? What are you doing to her hair?"
Yeah.
And not just like questioning it. It was more of like,
Curiosity.
no, no, no. It wasn't curiosity. It was more of like, what are you doing? Like, like stop.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is for the scalp. Like,
Yeah.
do you not know? And the my client, she was suffering from like thinning hair and all that. And she was even skeptical with doing braids. And I was like, well, my braids are painless and they actually promote more moisture. Like I don't do gel. So I'm like, I'm more gentle, don't do gel, and I don't have like weighted braids on your head.
Hmm.
So like after a while, like of me like coming to me, her hair started to get fuller, longer, and like her curls, and she was just like, oh my God. And then now the family like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now they get
So,
it.
so it was good, like, but the grease thing, the oiling, they didn't know. Like so I'm like, you have the drops, so I was like,
Yeah. So it's so funny because like when I first started my brand, right? It was like, oh, a lot of people were coming to me because they saw my natural hair, right? So they kind of automatically assumed that I was gonna come out with a gel or a mousse, like styling products. But that wasn't really my, like, I felt like it was deeper than that when it comes to my message, right? So the reason why I launched with a leave-in and a hair elixir is because you could use it, a leave-in and a hair elixir, like regardless of how you wear your hair. Like if you have braids, if you have extensions, which is something that I like that is my natural hair, like that is my hair journey, like just going through the ups and downs, right? Like I had gotten a perm one time and then a keratin right after my hair went, it was done for. So I used to love like hair growth drops, right? It was something that was always instilled in my hair care routine. And when I would go under the dryer and I just feel like, oh my God, the like little tingling sensation from the peppermint, it just always felt amazing. And I want like that experience that I had, I wanted to share it with others. So for me, the scalp is something that was always and has been like really important. And of course, the leave-in was something that I feel like would be a product that everybody would be able to use. So we kind of meet you where you're at in terms of your own hair care journey, right? Because I even have a friend that we have similar hair or whatever it might be. She doesn't perm her hair anymore, but she does still like straighten her hair faithfully. Like she doesn't feel comfortable in her natural hair. She likes it better straight. And I feel like, you know what? Like I'm not really in the business of telling people how to do their hair. As long as you're using like healthy products, you do your hair as you see best, right? Like if you want to straighten your hair, as long as you have heat protectant and it's not too much heat or too much flat iron, her hair is growing and has been flourishing, like you do you, you know?
Right. No, I get it. And so I think we were still on that one question. So we're gonna go into the other one, but I'm pretty sure we touched on a few things
Mhm.
and education and empowerment. So you definitely was educating us on a few things. So as a beauty entrepreneur, how do you balance creating products with educating your community about healthy hair care practices? Like, I feel like you just tapped into it, but if you have like a little bit more that you want to go in with, you can.
I think that like when it comes to our community, a lot of it is just like literally educating on like the basics. Like, right, you went to cosmetology school and people don't know the basics, right? Like
Right.
people like how to wash. Like I found myself having to educate people on the, like how to wash their hair, how often they should be washing their hair based on their lifestyle. Maybe doing like deep conditioners, right? Like I used to be like you do your washing, not wetting your hair every day. Like it'll be simple things like that we don't really know, right? Because we grow up like kind of seeing your mom do it, so you kind of just do the same thing that they were doing. And I just see myself having to like educate people on like literally like the beginning steps of like, okay, you start from dirty hair, you wash it, you do 2 to 3 washes, you do the conditioner, you do the deep conditioner, and then after that, then you do the leave-in. Like literally, like people will ask me, okay, how to use your product because they never used the leave-in before. So I'm having to educate them on like, okay, step 0, step 1, step 2. So for me, literally like having the products that I have and just being able to educate people on how to use them is like the biggest thing, because I feel like a lot of people see the products but might not be using it correctly, like just hence like a lot of other products like Olaplex, and where like it's specifically products that you're not supposed to be using every week, but people were using it every week and now they're seeing hair loss and now they're questioning it. And even like other hair growth jobs that I know that are on the market that are not meant to be used that frequently. So it's all about educating yourself, reading the like instructions on how to use it and stuff. So I think that's really important overall, just being able to educate people on how to use the products. And I think from there it helps the community a lot and they get a better understanding of like, okay, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right. And they're allowed to make it helps them to maintain their hair before or in between stylists, or if they don't go to a stylist. They can just do it themselves. So I love that. And with braiding, I use leave-in conditioner
Mhm.
like to detangle, to make sure that the hair is still like conditioned or moisturized as it's going into the braiding process. So that's why I really resonated with Honey Beauty. Like I was there like, okay, she got to, like she
Yeah.
got the leave-in conditioner. Like that's my go-to. Like,
Yes.
and so the elixir, like, greasing the scalp, I am big on not using gel because at the end of your braid session, you have to grease your scalp, right? You have to, add the oil. But if there's gel, now how they be, adding it to the line, it
Mhm.
basically coats it that you can't get any grease to the scalp,
Right.
right? And so that's my little spiel.
Mhm.
But so I know this journey has a lot of challenges, and lessons that you've learned on the way, right? So, what has been the most surprising challenge that you've faced, as a founder, and what lessons did you learn that could help an aspiring braid artist or beauty entrepreneur?
I think that, okay, so I feel like this has literally like my brand correlates with my life. Like having to explain to people that Black Latinas exist, like has been a huge thing. Like we're from New York, so we get it, but people outside of New York don't get it. So like I used to use terminology like Afro Latina, and people don't understand what that means, right? Especially when you're talking about the beauty industry in general, right? They don't understand that. So they automatically categorize us as like multicultural, right? That's terminology that people maybe outside of New York or like other cities kind of like get. So having to be able to kind of explain my brand and my story to other people outside of New York, I feel like has been a challenge because a lot of people don't get it. Like literally, they do not get it, and being a brand from New York and trying to move forward, I feel like like the natural hair wave kind of became popping a couple years ago, maybe like 10 years ago, right? And still a lot of people categorize that as like literally you go to Walmart and you see black hair care or whatever like so for me being able to kind of just like share what that is and what my brand is and a little bit about the story, my culture, New York has been interesting just trying to share that with other people like outside of our community because sometimes they don't understand this. So kind of having to like dumb it down, I feel like has been a huge challenge. Just being understood overall, I feel like has been one of the biggest challenges. And something that I feel like was a lesson learned and that other beauty entrepreneurs could learn is that it's hard out there, right? Like, so when it comes to a beauty brand, like you learn a lot, right? But sometimes people want to grow so fast. And when you grow fast, sometimes you fall fast. So for me, I rather move at my own pace and learn about the industry, right? Learn from mistakes that other brands make. Where do you want to, like, sometimes people have the money, but don't know where to invest the money. Like, where should I be spending the money to move my brand forward? So I feel like don't be in a rush to succeed. Like literally take it one step at a time and observe and learn from others and kind of then like just push forward. Because when you're in a rush to succeed and win, it kind of, from what I've seen, doesn't really go well.
That's really good. That's really good. Like a lesson learned, like succeeding. I think it's really fun to just be on the journey. Right?
Right.
Like it's like, oh, I didn't know I needed that. Like, and it's like some people lose a lot of money when they're just like, oh, this is what I gotta do, this is what I do, instead of like going to events, and kind of like seeing other brands, how they pop up and just listen to their stories and like, having this podcast and, interviewing people with different brands to just kind of like tell their stories so people don't feel like, oh, it was always like I started it, you started it in 2020, like 2020, like 5 years ago, right? Is it 5 years or 6 years?
Yeah. 5 years. We almost there.
We
Six
almost there.
years.
So it's like almost 6 years since 2020. And it's like, That's 6 years of learning and restarting and figuring it out. And I'm pretty sure you probably got
Right.
maybe a couple of times. I don't know. I know my journey has been like, dang, did I just get got?
Right.
But then you learn from that and you kind of like pivot, but it's fun because you could get to learn a little bit like if you try something else or add a new product line or something like that, add a new product to your line.
Right.
You already gone through so many different things that you know how to do it quicker. But and the success, I don't think you ever meet like the threshold for success for what people think. Like I think it's just you're always learning, you're always growing. And so that's great advice for them. So you went into the second, I mean one of the fourth question, which was about industry trends and advice. So I feel like you just touched on that with the beauty industry constantly evolving. How do you stay ahead of how you stay ahead while keeping your products accessible, natural, and effective? And I know you just kind of like touched on the advice on how entrepreneurs can start their beauty brand from scratch.
Yeah, I guess I'll touch like upon the beauty trends. I feel like I feel like sometimes brands are like so quick to like hop on a trend. So I think that with me being able to create products that are gonna sustain not just the beauty trends, but long term has been something that's been important to me because big beauty brands are able to kind of follow up on trends, right? Like let's say a trend now is papaya. So now everybody has a papaya line. So but smaller brands aren't do not necessarily have the funding to automatically launch a product that has papaya in it, right? Because that's a lot of money and investment that goes behind it. So I think that being able to create a product that is going to sustain like beauty trends and that is effective is what's really going to win long term, right? Because a beauty trend is it comes and goes and comes and goes. But if you have a product that has a story, right? Whether that's ingredients, whether that is your tradition, right? Like, whatever that might be, just making sure that the brand story and the product story makes sense, regardless if we're talking about 2020 and 2025. Like, right? Regardless, people could relate to the products and people could relate to the brand. Like, let's say if I was to just have, I have two products right now. Let's say if I was to just have come out with edge control. I don't know if, the brand would still be alive because yeah, people use edge control, but now people understand that doing your edges every day is not good for you. You might lose your edges. So maybe there'll be a dip in sales, like who knows, right? But like for me, I feel like that I created products that would be able to withstand time, regardless of what beauty trends come in and what beauty trends come out. So
I love that. I I don't even need to touch on that because I love that. Like leave-in conditioner and elixir, those are the two things that everybody's gonna need.
right.
And so the whole edge control thing, like, you see me, I'm an advocate. I'm like, no, Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
No. I'm like, cause it's like, yo, like it gets all cakey, it's thick,
Mhm.
it's stale. Like, come on now. That's not even cute most of the time. Like,
No, yeah, I know the people have gotten creative with the edges. I'm just like, man, I don't got time.
right. It's like if it's like a photo shoot, it's something
Right.
like an event, like I could get it, but every day,
Yeah, it's too
it's
much.
like no, like how do
And I'm
you
not gonna lie, I haven't had an edge control that withstands the heat and humidity. Literally, like I lay my edges,
throw right
and
back
as
up?
soon as I go outside, swoop. So for all of that, sometimes I just moisturize my edges with my leave-in. I put on a scarf, lay it down, and kind of does the same.
Right. Like that's all you need is just to break the hydrogen bonds in the strands,
Yeah.
dry the way you want it, and you're good. But I feel like the natural baby here with it, like the sweat or like where it lays, that's the natural baby here.
Right.
But okay, new generations. So,
Yeah.
um, so the last question within the educational world would be outside of honey beauty, what is your self-care ritual or beauty habit you swear by that helps you stay grounded and inspired?
Yeah, I think that this is something that I've learned recently, actually, because so what I've noticed is that I need to put myself first and fill up my glass before I'm able to do for others. And I didn't necessarily see that growing up, right? Like I was always seeing my mom like nonstop working, nonstop cooking, not and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, was she ever tired? Because she was doing a lot, you know? So I think that now that I have a kid, I'm able to like see that. And now more than ever, I'm like, okay, like I have to put myself first because if I don't put myself first, I can't be there for my fiance. I can't be there for my son, right? So what putting myself first means if I need to go to the doctor, if I need to go to the dentist, if I need to do whatever follow-ups I need to do to make sure that I'm doing that. If I need to tell my fiance, like, hey, you got it right now. Take care of him because I need to go on a walk, you know, to clear my mind. Like, those are things that help me and contribute to my mental health because I didn't really see that growing up. So, like, I felt like self-care and mental health kind of go hand in hand. So, being able to prioritize myself, right? My self-care helps my mental health. So, I think that, you know, putting yourself first is definitely important and being able to do a little bit about a little of what you like to do every day definitely goes a long way. So something that I love to do and have gotten back into is my yoga, right? Recently I picked up Pilates just to keep my body moving. And I think that that's all important because if not, you get stuck in a rut and trying to get out that rut sometimes for people could be years
I
or you go through a bad experience or like you know other things happen and it's just like oh like how then you look back and it's like oh how did I get myself in this situation.
exactly. So thank you for having your self ritual. You stand on business with that. Walks are great. Like
Right.
so good. So now that we're out of those questions, we're gonna go into some fun questions. And one of the first one is, what is something that people are surprised to learn about you?
Like when people meet me and they know that okay like you're founder of a hair care brand, they're surprised that I actually still have a 9 to 5, that I'm a technical recruiter and I work in corporate. And they're just like, oh, because that's something that's also really big, right? Like being a Black Latina in the tech space, in the tech industry is like one of a kind. So every time people meet me, they're like, oh my God, like that's so dope. Like you have a, not only do you have your own business, but you're also in tech. Like, wow, because tech is really competitive. It's really hard. Like I've worked at Google, I've worked at Meta. So when people hear that, they're like, oh, wow, like that's crazy. And for me, that's something that growing up, I didn't necessarily see. So being able to share my story and because to me now, I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is what I do, right? Like whatever. But I know that growing up, I didn't necessarily see anybody like myself that had a business and had a 9 to 5. Like, so being able to share my story with like even people who know me, like my younger sister and her friends and stuff like that, is always something that growing up, if I had, I knew would have motivated me even more because sometimes like growing up in places like I live in the South Bronx, right? You don't know what you don't see. And getting that exposure to other people is like, wow, like if she could do it, then I could do it too. I'm a first generation graduate. So nobody that I know in my family has been to college. So let alone nobody could be able to help me with all the things that I had to deal with when it comes to corporate America. So being able to kind of just share my story has been like really important for me and always something that people are always like, oh wow, like that's dope.
Right. Like, congratulations on all of that. I get it. It's like you grow up and you like, you are the person that you would have loved to see growing up.
Right.
And so you're healing your inner child, at
Yeah.
least, but I get it because it's like, who do you talk to? Growing
Right.
up, you be like, Auntie was working for someone, Uncle
Right.
was working for someone, Mom was working for, like, it was always, we didn't have entrepreneurs. And if they were like, to back in the days, they called it hustlers.
Right.
Today, there's entrepreneurs. That's a little bit more like, oh, it's
Mhm.
the bougie version, but really, it was hustlers and so we looked at we I think growing up, hustlers was frowned upon.
Mm,
It was like, oh, here goes this person hustling. Like they look at them, they hustle every day, like so
yeah.
they always on the grind. But now it's more positive as an entrepreneur, and they're going to work on a business plan. And I think if we would have had the wording a little bit better back then, we
Hmm.
would have probably highlighted or even supported those people instead of like, kind of like, oh, here this one go again, like what they selling.
Yeah, even like I mean that's so true, right? Like so my mom was a hairstylist for like what, like 15, 20 years, and then she had her own salon for about another like 10 years, but seeing her struggle with that business was definitely like eye-opening to me because people would be like, "Oh, you want to be a hairstylist like your mom?" And I'm like, I don't know, right? Like my mom having to like wake up, doesn't have a day off, right? So I kind of learned a lot from her having her own business as well. Like even when it comes to like self-care, putting yourself first, like having a day off, right? Like sometimes you don't say yes to every customer, like you don't say yes to all the money, right? Like so sometimes people will come up in there, want to get a dot, want to get a perm and a blow off for $20, right? And then you look at our community, and a lot of people are still charging those prices because they're scared to lose a customer or they're just scared of change,
Mm.
right? And then you look down the line 5 years later, then my mom has to close the business because they're not making sufficient money because the customers that they attracted were not the customers that kind of would help your vision forward. So it's a lot, right? Like, and I feel like it's just a lack of education and being able to learn just from all of that has really helped me kind of like move forward too.
I love that. I love my wheels. My wheels are going because I feel like in order for the beauty industry to be sustained in our communities, right? A lot of, I think, financial budgeting and financial education has to be given
Hmm.
to the
Yeah.
community because then they know how to prioritize and budget and also understand like if you have a beauty salon, right? Like a owner, if they're making $100 a day, that's nothing, right?
Yeah.
And and so you kind of like understand like, oh shoot, I should be paying them a little bit more, or I
Mhm.
shouldn't be doing this, or they shouldn't be working 7 days a week. Like they have breaks. Like this is a job. If I worked for a company and I couldn't get a break, I'd be mad, right? So it's
Right.
when you educate them on worth, especially braiders or entrepreneurs, like when they understand not only braiders but beauty professionals, when they understand their worth and
Mhm.
their time, they they won't be so, I guess, caught up on who leaves because
Right.
end up attracting the customer that actually can pay for them and who celebrates them or actually values them.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Education has a huge piece of it because even like you're saying, like even a transition from a beauty professional where you're working for somebody, like back in the day, my mom was working off percentages, right? And then that transition into like a business owner, I felt like she was still mentally stuck in the hairstylist chair that when she made that transition to a beauty owner, like a business owner, she wasn't like she didn't have the education that she needed to kind of propel forward because even now, right? Like yeah, in the beginning as an entrepreneur, you're like in it, right? You're working in the business, but after a while, you can't work in it. You kind of have to work on it. So you're a little bit more okay, you delegate like okay, this person could do this person can do this because we understand that a business can't run on one person because then you'll burn out. And that's basically what my mom was doing. So I think that the lack of the lack of education is a huge thing, and if people were to be educated a little bit more, or that would be great, like banks or something like that going into like these smaller businesses and just giving them that education. I know that it could definitely help, right? Because now you see gentrification and all these other businesses taking over, and I feel like small businesses, we lose the culture, right? Like now you don't really see all those salons like we used to. Like they still exist and stuff like that, and barber shops, but it's a little bit different, you know? So
More. we don't have conversations.
Yeah.
Right? Like you used to come into the salon and just chill. You might not even get your hair done. You just,
Literally.
hey, like, so hi everybody, and now it's like you have an appointment.
Right, right, right.
So it has changed. It's more exclusive
Mm-hmm.
and privatized and things like that. But the homie that in community part where it's like, and that's why I do the festival and like events like that, to have those conversations is just like, how does the community and the professional come together and just like break bread and have those conversations. So the second question is, what book are you currently reading and would you recommend it?
So to be honest, I was thinking about that question. I've been listening to a little bit more of podcasts, like mindful podcasts, but I did recently get a book that I'm trying to read, which is like Tiny Humans, Big Emotions, because something that has been really important to me has been learning how to regulate my emotions because I feel like it would help me regulate my nervous system. Like, right, I grew up, and it's just like, all right, like I'm mad. I'm tight, right? I'm tight for like 2 days. Like I can't get over it. Like I'm still thinking about it, right? And we don't realize how much that weighs on us, and even physically and mentally. So being able to learn a little bit more about like regulating emotions has been important, so I could teach that to my son, right? Because I think that that's huge, and that's something that's really important. Just because like life is not easy. There's a lot of ups and downs. Like you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, but like what they say, you can't let a bad moment make you have a bad day, right? Like it's a bad moment. You realize that and you kind of move on. And that's something that I feel like in my younger years, even teenage years, I had difficulty with. So being able to learn a little bit more about that has really been important as a mom and just like as I'm getting older, right? Like, because stress is killing people nowadays. So I need to learn how to regulate all these emotions because I want to live a long life.
Right. No, I think you're onto a good path, especially with your when you take your walks,
Right.
things like that, because going and getting yourself grounded, being in the park, being by trees.
Yeah.
For me, when it comes to regulating emotions, I like going by water.
Hmm.
Because I feel like that helps with like if you could stare at water, it's really good because you can see the waves and how it crashes into things. So it could go smooth, it can go fast, but it's always there. It's just how it flows. Like it's just kind of letting things flow through you and not
Hmm.
allow it to be blocked into you because I feel like that will cause stagnant
Yes.
energy inside you. So I'd be like, go for a run, do something. Like I just need to move.
Right, right, right. No, that is so true. I actually didn't know how much I connected with nature until I went to school. I went to school upstate in Albany and there was nothing around there but trees. So I didn't really have any other alternative but to kind of like go outside, go for a walk and do this. Like I grew up in the South Bronx. I ain't going outside. Like all right, there's a lot going on outside. So I could see where like, you have inner city youth not really literally my sister goes to school, comes home, like that's your routine. Like you don't really get a lot of outdoors. So being able to kind of like learn that as I gotten older and being able to ground yourself literally like putting your bare feet in grass like helps you so much. And learning that as an adult now has been the best thing that I've done for myself, like being able to like ground myself, like learn how to regulate my emotions and everything like that. It definitely helps me get through whatever difficulties I might be going through.
Love that. Okay, so now, last but not least, how can people find you and support you?
Yeah, of course. So, Genesis Dominguez on LinkedIn. You could also find our website at www.honeybeautynyc.com. That would also be our Instagram handle at honeybeautynyc. So I'm more than happy to connect with people. Definitely like reach out, send me a message, and I'm always responding and always looking to connect with everyone.
Ah, Yes, she is because she connected with me. So so again, thank you so much, Genesis, for joining us on this podcast and sharing all the goodies. I want to tell everybody thank you for listening to the Art of Braids podcast. This is Karyne. I am with Genesis Dominguez of Honey Beauty, and this topic is building beauty and community. Until next time, see you later.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to introduce to you something that I've been wearing and loving for some time now, and I think you will too. For me, when I braid or teach or go throughout my day, style and comfort are a tie for my number one priority. And that's why I love Clove shoes. I mean, you can't spell clove without love. That's CLOVE. And they started making sneakers for healthcare workers like nurses who need good support for long shifts on their feet. Same as in beauty and with creators, right? You're on your feet on the go all the time. And that's what these shoes are for. They're also waterproof and they wipe clean, so there's no worries about spills or stains from any products you use. And on top of that, they're super cute. And there's so many colors for you to choose from, so it'll go with any look you have. I'd love for you to try a pair, so I've got an offer code for you. Visit goclove.com/Karyne and use code CLOVEKARYNE, that's Clove, then my name, KARYNE, for 20% off your first pair. You might start collecting them like I do. That's CLOVEKARYNE for 20% off your first shoe order at goclove.com/Karyne.